A crap guide to Final Fantasy XIV melee DPS by JoCat. Alright, let's check out this crap guide.
Everyone always says you should be a team player, but honestly, I've always felt like the best way to help the team is by crushing whatever obstacle that's in the way with my heavily toned squat receipts. So that's it, no more playing for anybody else. I play for me, baby. Any reason the raid wipes from now on is no longer my fault. I only exist to make big numbers fly towards the screen and watch my skill bar light up like a Christmas tree at a rave party. And you bet your precious patoot the progress preventers will be promptly pounded because this potent projector of pain will be peppering those beasties until your pack is paved with enough resulting pellets that every peddler will pray to be pampered by a more palatable pacifist.
How many P words do we have?
Welcome to a crap guide to Final Fantasy.
I love this intro. But this is true what he said. Like, sometimes offense is the best defense as well. You guys know that saying, right? So if you're like a good melee DPS, you're making the job easier for everyone, for healer, for tank. Because if you're killing stuff fast, then the healer doesn't need to worry about healing others, because everything is just going to melt away anyway. And the tank doesn't need to tank so long, right?
Being a DPS is like being the king of capitalism, because the way you play, taking care of others, is for bitches. Pay no attention to anybody else's well-being unless it directly affects you, and so long as you're alive and safe, you can act like anything bad that happens around you is probably not your fault. All that brain power instead will be put towards what really matters, your complicated as shit damage rotation. That's right, step aside tanks 1, 2, 3 and healers 2 damage buttons. These are where the big guys and gals play. Or at least that's what they like to tell themselves, since one of the only party utilities they have to worry about is pressing the faint button once in a blue moon. Their hotbar will more often have dozens of buttons, all dedicated to big damage. The melee DPS is the most important person in the party, as you are the one on the front lines inspecting the bad guy's anus like it's where all the Hrothgar hats are hiding, while avoiding the enemy's sprays of hot, poisonous gamer stink. Not only are you going to be up in their grill, turning their cheeks into a ripe tomato while flip-flopping in and out of danger like you're a politician making pancakes, you're also going to make like an adult film star and learn positionals. Certain attacks in your damage rotation.
Yeah, that is actually the tricky part about melee DPS. Like, if you look at Ninja, for example, you need to be, for some skills, in a certain position to even have this bonus damage, right? So, yeah, I actually love this a lot about Final Fantasy XIV, that for like... Why did I pause that? Yeah, that you have like positionals, because some other MMO games, they don't have positionals. Like, you stand anywhere and your skill does the same amount of damage. So I think that's cool that that you have to use some tactics in Final Fantasy XIV. That makes it way more interesting, in my opinion. I actually love it. It's more challenging. And yeah, by the way, guys, if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content.
Certain attacks in your damage rotation will require you to land them in specific areas around the enemy target, specifically the rear and the flank, in order to deal additional damage. How do you tell where those positions are? By the massive disembodied titty underneath the target. See this nipple? That's the front, where the tank will be sucking on the sweet milkies that are tank busters, which obviously means this conspicuous ticulus on the opposite end is the rear. What about the flank? That'll be on either side of the enemy. And if you're ever confused as to where each area begins and ends, a useful tip on how to tell is imagine there's a big X dividing each of the quadrants. Or you could just press true north and pretend positionals don't exist, like it's an embarrassing memory of that time you did the Gangnam Style at school, unironically. The only time it isn't the case is when the enemy has a full ring without an opening, in which case you won't have to worry about any of that guff, and you can just sit there like an off-tank who's actually having fun. Otherwise, between...
Oh shit, I didn't realize there are actually some mobs that have that. Yeah, I think I saw this like at least once or twice. Interesting.
Tank who's actually having fun. Otherwise, between hopping back and forth in these two spots and running around catching up to the boss whenever the tank feels like doing cardio, your little wall's legs are gonna get so much working out that they'll be thick as the milk from the teats of a whale made of molasses. Which is to say, expect to move. A lot. But what if I'm not in the right place for a position or the boss is far away? Just remember the old adage. Always be casting! Even if you're not able to land your positionals, or if the boss is too far away to make a melee attack, be sure to always be pressing your buttons no matter what. Unless you're a monk who has no ranged attack and you have to sit there thinking about how your job will inevitably be reworked yet again in the next patch. However, there is another secret epic gamer option that allows you to maximize the DPS you output at the risk of yourself as well as potentially everybody else, but it's usually the healers. This technique is called greed. The funny thing about AoE markers in Final Fantasy XIV is that they only ever mark you for damage if you are standing in them the moment they go away. This means that if you're fast on your fingers, you can stand there DPSing the bad guy while soaking in their radioactive orange juice until the very last second, where you backflip out just as the dropkick of doom skims your fuzzy anime hairs and you don't might lose a second of uptime. As I said, however, this is a high risk. If your timing is off and you spend just a millisecond too long, you'll be covered in cheese puffs. You might even die, or in some cases you'll have to suffer.
One thing I'm wondering here, guys, and you can maybe answer this in the comment section if you have experienced that. So let's say you're on a Dragoon and you do this backflip thingy, right? And you can do something similar on the Samurai, right? So let's say you do this, for example, right? And you do this and you're still in this orange thingy, but you activate it, let's say 0.3 seconds before it goes off. Does this skill, like using it, prevent you to take any damage too? Or must you also calculate into, like, let's say you have like a half second goes off, but it takes you 0.3 seconds to get out. Do you have to calculate that into, or is it okay if you're in the air, for example? Like, I thought even about freaking jumping sometimes when something goes off, but I'm not sure if jumping will prevent it. I haven't tried this yet. But yeah, I'm like curious that if you use this skill on the Dragoon or on the Samurai, for example, and you're using it before it goes off, but you are still in the circle, but you're flying, like you're inside this attack or whatever it is, are you taking damage or not? I'm like really curious. Maybe I should test it myself and see.
Millisecond too long, you'll be covered in cheese puffs. You might even die, or in some cases you'll have to suffer a fate worse than having to read the entire 24-hour chat log of Limsa. Damage down. Shh, it's okay. Nobody's gonna take away your big damage numbers. Papa's here to make sure you don't greed too hard if you're not ready, okay? Okay. As the melee DPS, you also have first dibs on limit break against most bosses since yours deals the most damage, specifically when they're single. This is because when you hit the limit break button, you're not actually attacking them, just showing them pictures of a happy, healthy relationship, and nothing hurts more than emotional damage. Just ask Arianje. Yeah. But what are the individual jobs whom of which meleeeth said up-close slappers to thine adversaries? There are 5, and each one is a different flavor of anime and edge. Monk, for those of you who want to go fast, having one of the shortest global cooldowns in the game means you'll be dealing out punches like you're a pissed off caterer at a middle school sock hop. Instead of the traditional combos, each attack puts you in a specific stance. Bird, cat, and monkey. Each one combos into another attack that benefits from each respective stance. Your rotation will be all about swapping stances around more than a kid trying sick moves to impress their crush at a middle school sock hop. You also have perfect balance, which allows you to go freestyle and pick whichever stance you're feeling more at the moment without having to do any of the normal stance setup. If you repeat the same stance 3 times during your freestyle, you get a purple token on your stylish moves punch card. And if you do 3 different stances during the freestyle, you get a white one. Do a freestyle with 3 unique moves one more time while you have both a purple and white tokens on your punch card, and you get to turn it in to make your crush dripping wet with damage because for some reason you get to kick them in the face. The only problem is you are the only melee without a ranged attack to keep your uptime. And although you do have a dash that lets you zip around like Goku on a triple shot ristretto down blend macchiato, if ever you find yourself without a target to punch during combat, you can call timeout on your buffs so they stop moving while you have a little cry because your crush rejected you at the middle school sock hop. Dragoon is probably the most straightforward of the melee classes and the one most likely to have a tragic backstory. You've got a 5-button combo that swaps between hard slaps and sakura flowers and a handful of buffs that will turn anybody else in the party into your partner in dragon slaying. What kind of dragon slaying? That's up for you to decide, which you'll have plenty of time to do while you're suspended 20 moms in the air dropping in like a scantily clad human airstrike.
But that's true. What kind of dragon slaying? Yeah, there are dragons in Final Fantasy XIV, but let's be honest, like most of the mobs are not dragons. So if you're like a dragon slayer class and you're mostly fighting against non-dragons, yeah, what kind of dragon are you slaying? That is a good question. But yeah, it's actually interesting with the monk. I feel like I should give monk a shot if I find the time. Currently I'm playing a lot of black mage. I'm grinding it up, but hey, let's see what I will play next.
Strike, who's got a date with Nidhogg at 5 and a party at the Quicksand at 6. Yes, the Matanga in the room. Dragoon has several damage-dealing jumps necessary to unlocking special attacks in their rotation that will lock you into an animation, which means you're stuck and unable to move out of your location while the boss is just about ready to piss all over the floor right before you land. So be wary when using your jumps, lest you fling yourself right into a danger puddle and perpetuate the tired singular joke the 14 community has for the class. On the bright side, though, you do get the objectively best job mentor in the form of
Estinian.
Ninja is great for people who enjoy American football, because for every 10 seconds of excitement, there's a minute of fuck all. Your rotation is all about fitting every goddamn cooldown you can into a small window of time where you make the enemy take more damage. And on top of that, you also have the ability to live out every weeb's dream and do a bunch of hand gestures to cast magic attacks and also drop down into a low position and run with your arms flopping behind you in the breeze, which Final Fantasy objectively proves makes you go faster. You got 3 hand symbols, and depending on what order you do, you will make a different kind of anime reference. For example, going Chi Tenjin Tenjin Chi Chijin unlocks a secret dark ending of Cory in the house and causes the enemy to be susceptible to bonus damage. But maybe you're facing a mob of enemies who are immune to A-rank powered life forms, so you'll instead have to go Tenjin Jin Chijin Chijin Ten Chijin Tenchi for 3 seasons of Sonic Underground, which will kick sand into their eyes with how...
I remember when I first tried to learn this, I kept pressing the wrong one. Like sometimes I had earth, wind, and then something else. I actually pressed sometimes wind before earth or sometimes earth before wind and stuff. It was weird. Like I messed up so many times at the beginning. It took me more than a week at least to master this and figure out how to properly use my ninjutsus, how to use Raiton and the others.
Fast, you'll be running circles around the slowpokes. More or less, you'll have to do some studying up on what combos do what. But here's a secret cheat sheet. Only the final mudra in the sequence matters. Fuck, it's the skill floor police. Cheese it! Samurai, the job most likely to have a dick measuring contest with a black mage. I'd be careful
Samurai
though,
has
their dad works at Square
interesting
Enix. This weeb is the most selfish of the melees, as it provides no utility for the rest of the party and instead acts like the average soccer player, focusing on being the star of the show who gets all the attention, especially when it drops to the floor clutching its knee when somebody sneezes on them. Your attacks contribute to a kink bar, which allows you to shame the enemy in a variety of ways, as your katana is also a substitute for a horny bat. So you remember how the monk has a punch card? Well, so do you, except yours is your sword and the punches are stickers. You have 3 basic combos, each one giving you a slight buff and slapping a sticker onto your katana. And depending on how many stickers you have, you will get one of 3 different rewards when you turn in your sticker sheet. With 1 sticker, you'll apply a dot that'll last longer than it takes to clean your room. Don't lie to me, I know a majority of my audience has depression. 2 stickers will charge up an AoE around you. And 3 stickers will make...
Yeah, the ultimate move. Wow, that is so cool. What's gonna happen next? Who's going to win? Epic.
Each sticker attack also gives you an additional separate
These are
sticker.
such
and
a
once
nice,
you have 3 of those, you get to do an additional.
Oh, another one.
And finally, the Reaper, the transfer student from Garlemald who got the rest to mauled at the fact that they think they're better than the rest of the melees. Which I mean they are, but don't let any Reaper hear you say that. It'll go to their heads. Being the darkest and edgiest of melees means that your job gauge is the Dark Souls HUD. Similar to the Samurai, you build up a bar that can be spent on big slaps. And those big slaps give you edgy boy points that can be spent on additional big slaps. Except this time, they're coral blue number 5 semi-gloss lipstick. Once you've kissed enough boys to build up your fashion bar, you get to turn into a spooky ghost.
Ghost! Ooh, Ghostbusters!
You do the spooky slice, the spooky slice. Now your swings have some spice. You do the slice. It's just your soul that's the price.
I'm gonna be honest, I think Reaper actually has maybe the best melee animations, right? Like, it looks also flashy and so huge, like those attacks. You know, like, it reminds me of, was it like Dark Knight? Yeah, Dark Knight in freaking BDO, Black Desert Online. That's like Dark Knight and it looks like that.
The slice. It's just your soul that's the price. You do the slice.
Yeah, that's BDO.
You do the spooky
that's
slice.
Big animation.
And now you know how to play melee. You're welcome. From the northern snow front of Ilsabard, the land was cold and the people scarred. They sought the void with the dead.
JoCat is a good singer too.
Howled themselves with the devious pact. You do the slice. You do the spooky slice. The spooky slice. Now your swings have some spice. You do the slice. It's just your soul that's the price. You do the slice.
Yo, let me give this one a thumbs up. You made a parody song to the freaking Reaper. Maybe that's his new main job or something. Yo, but that's interesting. No, like, seriously, like, as a melee, you literally are the most selfish role, because all you care about is what you are doing, how you do the most DPS. Like, there isn't so much utility. Like, yeah, there are some melee jobs that have like some utility. Like, if you look at Ninja, for example, with like trick attack, yeah, you need this for your group, right? So you could say that Ninja versus, for example, Samurai has a bit of more, yeah, like group utility that you're using. Because what does Samurai actually have? It doesn't have anything group utility wise, right? Is there any skill that helps the group? Not that I can remember, right? So like, yeah, like just like Ninja has something. And I believe that Machinist has like one skill that reduces the damage taken of a group mate or the whole group, if I remember correct. But yeah, there isn't so much utility stuff for most of the melee jobs, with a few exceptions like Ninja, but yeah, melee. I play mostly melee, except now I actually changed to caster. Like, before I was playing a lot of Ninja, and I was also playing quite a lot of Samurai. Like, Ninja and Samurai, I tried to mix them simultaneously and had a lot of fun on it. But recently I switched to caster, and I'm actually enjoying caster quite a lot. Like, yeah, Black Mage is a bit slow, but it is really fun to me. I guess I love those big explosions, like big eyes, big fire and all that. Yeah, this crap guy to Final Fantasy 14. Like, I wish actually there was like way more FF14 content to like react to. I know it's like kind of tricky making content to FF14 for some creators, but Yeah, JoCat has really cool guides. We had everything, how to heal, how to tank, and now we did like melee DPS. I think we checked out now all of his guides, right? But yeah, melee is fun to me, caster as well. And what do you guys think about melee DPS? Do you agree with this guide? And if you don't agree with something, let me know in the comment section. If you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up. I wish everyone a wonderful day. I will see you guys next time.